Good afternoon, students. Are you able to hear me? Yes, are you able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
So, are you able to hear me properly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, let me start the class. Whoever
हम
is first.
क्लास 210 का मैम रोज स्टार्ट అయ్యేది
2 can చెప్పంగా ప్రశాంత్ క్లియర్గా.
అంటే రోజు 210 కే మ్యామ్ స్టార్ట్ అయ్యేది
స్కెడ్యూల్లో అలా ఏం చెప్పలేదు కదా 2:10 కని. బ్రేక్ వచ్చేసి 45 minutes 50 minutes కదా, 1 hour కాదు కదా బ్రేక్ టైము.
ఓకే మ్యామ్
అంతేనా కదా? అయినా ఆల్రెడీ 2:05 అయింది. మీరు చెప్పిన టైమే అవుతుంది ఎట్లాగో. రైట్. సో ఒకసారి రివైజ్ చేస్తాను, అంతలోపు 2:10 అయిపోతుంది ఎలాగో. ఆర్ యూ ఏబుల్ టు సీ ద స్క్రీన్?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So in the last class, we discussed about shallow foundation. What is foundation and what is shallow foundation? So foundation is the part of a structure which transfers the load from superstructure to the soil. Okay, it acts like a medium between superstructure and soil to transfer the loads. Right. So see, all the parts of the building are visible to the eye, whereas foundation is a substructure, okay, which is constructed within the ground, okay, not visible to the eye. So foundation is classified like this: shallow foundation, deep foundation. And shallow foundation, when the depth of the foundation is less than or equal to the width of foundation, then it is called as shallow foundation. Shallow means a smaller depth, okay. The depth should be smaller than width of the foundation, that is called as shallow foundation, okay. So it is not fixed here, okay. If foundation depth is 10 meters, it is called as shallow foundation, not like that, okay. So it is defined by taking the reference of width, okay. So remember that shallow foundation which is having the depth smaller than the width, okay. So and the shallow foundation is classified like this: strip footing, spread footing, combined footing, mat or raft foundation, okay. Right. So strip footing means where the length is more than the width. The type of footing is called as strip footing, and this type of strip footing is preferable when you want to construct the a load bearing wall on the footing. Then strip footing is provided, okay. So spread footing, okay, it is also called as isolated footing. As the name is suggesting, isolated, one column, okay, it can support only one column. That type of footing is called as spread footing, okay. And there are different shapes of spread footing. The base slab of spread footing, as you can see in the image, it varies, okay. So sometimes it can be square, and sometimes just a simple square, sometimes stepped square, stepped footing. Here if you see the slab, it is wearing steps, okay. And sometimes it can be sloped base slab also, okay. And this shape also, sometimes it can be square, rectangular or circular. And the combined footing, as the name is suggesting, it is it is combining more than one column, okay, like this if you can see. And slab can be in the trapezoidal shape or rectangular shape, okay. The slab which is connecting more than one column, okay, it can be either rectangular or trapezoidal in shape. You can see the real image of combined footing here, okay. And mat footing, okay, it is mainly constructed to avoid differential settlements, and it can connect all the columns of your superstructure. Mat footing will be connecting all the columns of superstructure. Entire structure columns are connected with the MAC foundation. Okay, so these are the different types of shallow foundations. Okay, so it was revised already for you. Okay, choice of particular type of foundation. So type of foundation, it mainly depends upon 4 parameters like loads, and another thing, the main thing is soil strata, the properties of soil. It depends on nature of soil and also nature of superstructure. Okay, and specific requirements. And what are the 2 categories that we consider for design of a foundation? Those are shear failure and settlement criteria. Okay, so we design a foundation. It can be a shallow foundation, any type of shallow foundation. Okay, shallow foundation is defined or designed by considering 2 factors: shear failure, or it is also called as bearing capacity failure, and settlement criteria. Okay, so we need to, before discussing the about bearing capacity theories and settlement theories, we need to know some definitions in this unit. Okay, so the first definition is ultimate bearing capacity. Okay, ultimate bearing capacity, I said you in the yesterday's class, it is the capacity of a soil to bear. Bearing capacity means capacity of a soil to bear the loads. Okay, now the term is added ultimate to the definition, right, to the word. So what does it mean? Okay, what does ultimate bearing capacity now? Okay, so it is said, see, bearing capacity is nothing but pressure always. Okay, bearing capacity is always pressure. Okay, so what would be the unit of ultimate bearing capacity? Can anyone guess? So it is always a pressure, a type of pressure. Bearing capacity nothing but a type of pressure. Okay, which is acting at the base of foundation. See in the image you can see B term. Okay, it acts, the ultimate bearing capacity acts at the base of foundation. Okay, so at the base of foundation the soil may shear. Okay, so that type of pressure is called as ultimate bearing capacity, and this pressure is gross pressure. Okay, gross pressure at the base of foundation. Okay, gross pressure at the base of foundation is called as ultimate bearing capacity. Okay, so at this particular QU, okay, the ultimate bearing capacity is represented with the letter QU. Okay, so can anyone tell me, can anyone guess now what is the unit of bearing capacity? So the definition itself gives us the unit. Okay, so it is nothing but a gross pressure which is acting, which is generated at the base of the foundation. Okay, so can anyone guess the units? Yes, can anyone guess the unit? Ultimate bearing capacity. Okay, it means the gross pressure. What is the unit? Can anyone tell me?
Kilonewtons.
Pressure. It is said it is nothing but the gross pressure, right? What is the unit of pressure? Bearing capacity అంటే ఏదో కాదండి. ఓకే, bearing capacity అంటే అదొక టైప్ ఆఫ్ ప్రెజర్. ఓకే, బేరింగ్ కెపాసిటీ అంటే అదొక టైప్ ఆఫ్ ప్రెజర్. ఇప్పుడు చెప్పండి యూనిట్, ప్రెజర్కి యూనిట్ ఏంటండి?
Newton per meter.
Newton per meter square or kilonewton per meter square. Okay, it is the unit of bearing capacity. Okay, so the unit will be same even it is ultimate bearing capacity. Okay, net ultimate bearing capacity, any type of bearing capacity unit will be same. Okay, So ultimate bearing capacity means you need to remember this term. It is a gross pressure. Gross pressure which is there at the base. Okay. Gross pressure at the base is called as ultimate bearing capacity. Okay. And at this point, the soil will fail. Okay. So whenever your soil is undergoing this particular QU loading, okay, or pressure, okay, then the soil will fail. Okay. Next, net ultimate bearing capacity. Okay. So can anyone tell me the difference between, normally you might have heard these terms already in your lifetime. Okay. What is gross, what is meant by gross and what is meant by net? Yes. What is meant by gross and what is meant by net? Which one is larger one? Gross is larger one or net value is larger one? Yes. You might have heard these terms. Gross value will be larger or net value will be larger value? మీరు ఎకనామిక్స్కి రిలేటెడ్ ఆర్ బిజినెస్ మేనేజ్మెంట్ సబ్జెక్ట్ చదివారు కదండి, అందులో వచ్చింటుంది మీకు గ్రాస్ వాల్యూ ఏంటి, నెట్ వాల్యూ ఏంటి. గ్రాస్ వాల్యూ ఎక్కువ ఉంటుందా, నెట్ వాల్యూ ఎక్కువ ఉంటుందా?
Gross value.
Yes. So gross is always greater than net value. Okay. So gross లో okay something okay something minus చేస్తే some x value. Okay. Gross లో some x value minus చేస్తే you will get net value. Okay. ఇంతేనా అండి? మనకు జనరల్ మీనింగ్ ఇదే. గ్రాస్ వాల్యూలో నుంచి లార్జర్ వాల్యూ నుంచి సమ్ ఎక్స్ వాల్యూ మైనస్ చేస్తే విల్ గెట్ నెట్ వాల్యూ. ఓకే. సేమ్ థింగ్ హియర్ ఆల్సో. ఓకే. ఇట్ ఈస్ నెట్ అల్టిమేట్ బేరింగ్ కెపాసిటీ. ఓకే. సో అల్టిమేట్ బేరింగ్ కెపాసిటీలో నుంచి సమ్ వాల్యూ మైనస్ చేస్తే యూ విల్ గెట్ నెట్ అల్టిమేట్ బేరింగ్ కెపాసిటీ. సో యాజ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ నెట్ అల్టిమేట్ బేరింగ్ కెపాసిటీ రిప్రజెంటేషన్ ఈస్ QNU. సో బేరింగ్ కెపాసిటీకి Q, నెట్కి N, అల్టిమేట్ కాబట్టి NU. ఓకే. సో ఇట్ ఈస్ ద రిప్రజెంటేషన్ ఫర్ నెట్ అల్టిమేట్ బేరింగ్ కెపాసిటీ. ఓకే. సో ఫస్ట్ వన్ ఏంటి, గ్రాస్ ప్రెజర్. సో సెకండ్ వన్ ఏమవుతుంది ఆటోమేటిక్గా, ఇట్ ఈస్ అ నెట్ ప్రెజర్. ఓకే. సో ఇట్ ఈస్ అ నెట్ ఇంక్రీజ్ ఇన్ ప్రెషర్ at the base of foundation. There is increase in the pressure. Okay. At the base of the foundation that causes shear failure of the soil. Okay. సో ఏమవుతుందండి, లోడింగ్ అనేది ఎక్కువ అవుతుంది. లోడింగ్ ఎక్కువ అవుతుంది కాబట్టి సో దానివల్ల సాయిల్ విల్ ఫెయిల్. ఓకే. సో ఇక్కడ నెట్ వాల్యూ అనేసరికి మైనస్ అవుతుంది. ఎంత వాల్యూ, ఇదేంటి అసలు, వాట్ డస్ గామా రిప్రజెంట్స్? What does gamma represents? Yes. What does gamma represents?
Unit weight of soil.
Unit weight of soil. What does DF represents? What does DF represents? మీకు టైప్స్ ఆఫ్ ఫౌండేషన్ చెప్పేటప్పుడే చెప్పాను. What does DF represents?
Depth of foundation.
Depth of foundation. Okay. Unit weight of soil into depth of foundation minus cheste you will get net ultimate bearing capacity. Okay. So next, net safe bearing capacity. So ikkada safe ane term add ayindi. Ippudu ultimate poyindi, safe anedi ochindi. Okay. Bearing capacity same, net same. Okay. Ultimate poyi safe ochindi. Okay. So ఇది ఏంటండి, it is a net soil pressure, okay, which can be safely applied to the soil. Okay, considering only shear failure. Okay, only considered shear failure, and this amount of pressure, this net amount of pressure, okay, the soil can bear easily without any shear failure. Okay. సో మనకు పైన చూసినట్టయితే ఈ పర్టిక్యులర్ ప్రెజర్ అప్లై చేస్తే సాయిల్ విల్ ఫెయిల్, ఇట్ వాస్ సెడ్. ఓకే. సో వెన్ ఎవర్ యూ కమ్ హియర్ టు ద థర్డ్ డెఫినేషన్, ఓకే, హియర్ ఇఫ్ యూ సీ the soil will be safe even if you apply this much of loading, or even if there is existence of this QNS amount of pressure. Okay, so see, as we are saying, it is safe bearing capacity. Okay, so whenever we discuss the safety of a structure or safety of a slope, okay, there will be factor called factor of safety, right? So we provide factor of safety so that this, it may be the soil, okay, it may be the retaining wall, okay, so anything, it may be the foundation or the footing, everything, okay, will be safe enough whenever we provide safety, right? So that is why in the formula we'll be finding the factor, okay, a term factor of safety, net safe bearing capacity is equal to QNU by F. Okay, so here we are giving the safety to the structure, okay, safety to the soil, okay, right. So this amount of pressure the soil can bear easily, okay, that means it is a net safe bearing capacity, okay. So see, all the terms are similar. All the definitions are almost similar. Okay, but you need to understand the difference. Okay, so ఏముంటుంది అల్టిమేట్ బేరింగ్ కెపాసిటీ అయితే గ్రాస్ ప్రెజర్ ఉంటుంది, మనకు టర్మ్లో ఎప్పుడైతే నెట్ ఉంటుందో అక్కడ డెఫినెట్గా అది నెట్ ప్రెజర్ అవుతుంది. ఓకే, సో అది ఎక్కడ యాక్ట్ అవుతుంది, ఎలా ఉంటుంది అన్నది ఇంపార్టెంట్. సో నెట్ అల్టిమేట్ బేరింగ్ కెపాసిటీ అంటేనేమో బేస్ దగ్గర యాక్ట్ అవుతుంది. ఓకే, అండ్ ఇట్ కాజెస్ ఫెయిల్యూర్ ఇన్ ద సాయిల్. అదే సేఫ్ వరకు వస్తే ఏమవుతుంది, సో సాయిల్ విల్ బి సేఫ్ ఎనఫ్ ఈవెన్ ఇఫ్ యూ గివ్ ఆర్ ఈవెన్ ఇఫ్ దేర్ ఈస్ ఎగ్జిస్టెన్స్ ఆఫ్ దట్ పర్టిక్యులర్ ప్రెజర్. ఓకే, రైట్. సో మనము ఎప్పుడైనా లోడింగ్ అయినా ప్రెజర్ అయినా ఏదైనా కన్సిడర్ చేసేటప్పుడు వాట్ ఈస్ దట్ వీ నీడ్ టు కన్సిడర్. సో మనము బేసిక్గా సాయిల్ వెయిట్ కన్సిడర్ చేయాలి, వెయిట్ ఆఫ్ ఫుటింగ్ కూడా కన్సిడర్ చేయాలి, వెయిట్ ఆఫ్ ఫౌండేషన్ అండ్ స్లాబ్ వెయిట్ కూడా కన్సిడర్ చేయాలి, సాయిల్ వెయిట్ కూడా కన్సిడర్ చేయాలి. ఓకే, బ్యాక్ ఫిల్ వెయిట్, ఇట్ ఈస్ లైక్ బ్యాక్ ఫిల్ వెయిట్. ఓకే, అండ్ మనం ఏదైతే సూపర్ స్ట్రక్చర్ లోడింగ్ ఇస్తున్నామో అది క్యూసీ. ఇక్కడ పైన చూసినట్టయితే మీరు డయాగ్రామ్లో ఇక్కడ క్యూసీ అని రిప్రజెంట్ చేశారు. ఓకే, సో ఇది సూపర్ స్ట్రక్చర్ లోడింగ్, ఇది ఫౌండేషన్ సెల్ఫ్ వెయిట్ కూడా కన్సిడర్ చేయాలి అండ్ సాయిల్ వెయిట్ కూడా కన్సిడర్ చేయాలి. రైట్. So next definition, gross safe bearing capacity. Okay, so bearing capacity kabatti Q. Okay, safe bearing capacity kabatti S. Okay, so gross undi kabatti meer G kuda teeskochu, no problem in that. Okay, or else you can just mention QS only. Okay, so what is the definition of gross safe bearing capacity? Okay, సో మనకు టర్మ్లో గ్రాస్ కనిపిస్తుంది కాబట్టి ఆబ్వియస్గా ఇట్ ఈస్ అ గ్రాస్ ప్రెజర్. ఓకే, అండ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ అ మ్యాక్సిమం గ్రాస్ ప్రెజర్ విచ్ ద సాయిల్ కెన్ క్యారీ సేఫ్లీ. ఓకే, సో ద మ్యాక్సిమం కెపాసిటీ ఆఫ్ ఎ సాయిల్ ఈస్ దిస్ మచ్. ఓకే, ద మ్యాక్సిమం కెపాసిటీ ఆఫ్ సాయిల్ ఈస్ దిస్ మచ్. ఇఫ్ యూ ఇంక్రీజ్ ద లోడింగ్, okay, if you increase the loading even further, okay, if you try to create more pressure on the soil further than more than QS, then the foundation or the soil whichever is existing below the foundation that will undergo shear failure. Okay, so this is a safe bearing capacity, gross safe bearing capacity, or else we can say it is a maximum gross pressure, okay, that a soil can carry. Okay, so ఫార్ములా చూసినట్టయితే QS ఈక్వల్ టు QNS ప్లస్ గామా DF. ఓకే, QNS అంటే ఏంటండి, వాట్ డస్ QNS రిప్రజెంట్స్ హియర్? ఎస్, వాట్ డస్ QNS రిప్రజెంట్స్? చెప్పాలి. ఇంతకు ముందు స్లైడ్లోనే చూపించా. వాట్ డస్ Q represents? So remember this representation. Okay, Q represents bearing capacity. Okay, N represents net bearing capacity. S represents safe. Okay, net safe bearing capacity plus gamma into dF will give us the gross safe bearing capacity or else the maximum gross pressure. Okay, next definition, net allowable bearing pressure. I said you already. Okay, this term will come again. Net allowable bearing pressure kabatti Q. Okay, net kabatti N, allowable kabatti A. Okay, so this is the representation of net allowable bearing pressure. Okay, so it is a net bearing pressure which can be used for the design of foundation. Okay, so this is considered for design of foundation. This particular QNA, it is the allowable. Okay, so name suggests, okay, allowable, it is allowed for the design. So remember like that, as it is mentioned, allowable, it is allowed for the or considered for the design purpose. Okay, so because it is considered, okay, there should be no shear failure. Okay, okay, so this QNA is also is giving us like limiting thing. Okay, it is like border. Okay, so even under this pressure there won't be any failure in the soil. That is why it is considered for design. Okay, so these are the 5 definitions of bearing capacity you need to remember. Ultimate bearing capacity, net ultimate bearing capacity, net safe bearing capacity, gross safe bearing capacity and net allowable bearing pressure. అంతేనండి, సింపుల్. ఓకే, ఒక చోట గ్రాస్ ఉంటుంది, ఒక చోట నెట్ ఉంటుంది, మళ్ళీ సేఫ్లో కూడా గ్రాస్ నెట్. ఓకే, 4 definitions and net allowable bearing pressure. Okay, right. So see, already I said you. Okay, so Terjagi is a scientist who has given us, okay, a formula for finding the depth of foundation. Okay, so this is the minimum depth of foundation formula. Okay, DF, depth of foundation minimum, is equal to Q by gamma into, okay, 1 minus sin phi dash by 1 plus sin phi dash square. Okay, so what is phi, Andy? What is phi? What does phi represents in the formula? Yes, what does phi represents? phi అంటే ఏంటండి? ఇంకా ఫౌండేషన్ ఇంజనీరింగ్ సబ్జెక్ట్ చెప్పి వేస్ట్, మీరు phi అంటే ఏంటో చెప్పకపోతే. What does phi or phi dash represents? Tell me, what does phi dash represents? సో క్లాస్లో ఉన్న వాళ్ళకి ఎవరికి తెలీదా అండి phi dash అంటే ఏంటో?
యాంగిల్ ఆఫ్ ఇంటర్నల్ ఫ్రిక్షన్.
యాంగిల్ ఆఫ్ ఇంటర్నల్ ఫ్రిక్షన్. ఫస్ట్ అడిగినప్పుడే చెప్తే అయిపోతుంది కదా అండి. రైట్, సో యాంగిల్ ఆఫ్ ఇంటర్నల్ ఫ్రిక్షన్, సో ఇట్ ఈస్ ద ప్రాపర్టీ ఆఫ్ ఏ సాయిల్. ఓకే, సో what does gamma represents? What does gamma represents? గామా అంటే ఏంటండి? gamma represents what? ఎవరికి తెలీదా క్లాస్ లో? Right. So gamma is the unit weight of soil. Gamma represents unit weight of soil. Okay. Wait, unit weight. What does Q represents here? Okay. So Q represents the intensity of loading at base. Okay. Q represents intensity of loading at base. Okay. So this is the formula to find out the depth of the foundation, the minimum depth of the foundation. So I said you one point already. Okay, your foundation should not be less than at any situation. Okay, for any type of soil. Okay, it should not be less than 0.5 meter. Okay, this is one recommendation. Okay, along with this, okay, you can follow this formula also. Okay, so this is a widely used formula for the minimum depth of to find out or to calculate or to fix the design of a foundation. Okay, so can anyone gives the limits of this formula? So I hope you got the meaning of foundation, right? So can anyone guess the limitations of this formula? Yes. Tell me. Any limitations? So, see, are you able to see the term cohesion in the formula? Cohesion C or cohesion intercept C dash is not mentioned in the formula. So, this is not considering the different or important shear parameter C. Okay, so there is no discussion of cohesion of soil. Okay, so this is one limitation. There is no C in the formula. This is one limitation. And another limitation, if you see, okay, so if df is 0, okay, if df is 0, okay, so what does it means? What happens to the bearing capacity? What happens to the Q? Yes. If depth of foundation is 0, what happens to the intensity of loading or what happens to the bearing capacity of soil? Yes. Tell me. DF 0 అవుతే ఏమవుతుందండి? Q వాల్యూ ఏమవుతుంది? If DF is 0, what happens to the Q? చెప్పండి. ఇది 0 అవుతే మిగతా Q ఏమవుతుంది? So Q will also become 0, right? Q అంటే ఏంటంటే బేరింగ్ కెపాసిటీ. Bearing capacity will become 0 even if DF is 0. Okay, so Right. So students, it means that bearing capacity of soil becomes zero. Okay. So does it really happens even at the ground surface? Okay, even at the ground surface or even at any depth, the soil. Okay, it can be any type of soil, any weak type of soil also. It always any soil consists always. Okay, at some very less value of bearing capacity, but never it becomes zero. But this Terjagi's formula is saying that at zero depth of foundation, okay, it means that at ground surface the bearing capacity of soil is zero, it is saying. So does it really happens? is that
No.
is that happens in the reality? The ground surface or whatever the soil that is existing on the ground, okay, or else at a zero depth of foundation, does it means that it is not having any capacity to bear the loads? Does it means that? Does it happens in the reality?
No.
No, right? So always any weak soil it can be, okay? Any weak soil it can be, okay? It always consists some or other bearing capacity, less value of bearing capacity in the worst case also, but it never becomes zero. But Terjagi equation says that, okay? So it is not a valid equation, but still it is widely used equation, okay? See, even it knows that this equation got limitations, okay? So there are also some more, one or two more scientists has given equation for minimum depth, okay, but those are not widely used because we believe that Terjagi is the father of soil mechanics. Whatever he says, like it is like a damn sure thing that we need to follow, okay? సో వేరే ఫార్ములాస్ కూడా ఉన్నాయండి డెప్త్ ఆఫ్ ఫౌండేషన్కి, బట్ అవి ఎక్కడ అడగరు, ఎక్కువ యూస్ చేయరు కూడా, ఓకే? ఎగ్జామ్స్లలో చాలా రేర్గా అడుగుతారు. కానీ ఈ ఫార్ములా అయితే ఇంపార్టెంట్ అండి ఎగ్జామ్స్కి, మినిమం డెప్త్ ఆఫ్ ఫౌండేషన్కి. సో మీకు షార్ట్ క్వశ్చన్స్లో కూడా అడిగే ఛాన్స్ ఉంటుందండి ఇది, ఈ ఈక్వేషన్, రైట్? రైట్. సో ఈ ఫార్ములా ఒకటి గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి, మినిమం డెప్త్ ఆఫ్ ఫౌండేషన్, రైట్? నెక్స్ట్ టాపిక్ ఇన్ ద యూనిట్ ఈస్ types of shear failures, okay? So shear failure ante ento, okay, I said you to search, okay? It was discussed many times, okay, in the classes, okay? So now any one of you tell me what is mean by shear failure of a soil. Yes, shear failure of a soil, what does it mean? Tell me. సో మనకు జియోటెక్నికల్ 5th యూనిట్ నుంచి ఈ టర్మ్ వింటున్నామండి, ఓకే? సో సెకండ్ యూనిట్ మొత్తం ఈ టర్మ్ మీదనే, ఓకే? సాయిల్ స్లోప్ అనేది షియర్ ఫెయిల్యూర్ కాకుండా ఉండాలంటే ఏం చేయాలో సెకండ్ యూనిట్ చెప్పింది, ఓకే? థర్డ్ యూనిట్లో కూడా అంతే ఆల్మోస్ట్, ఓకే? సో టెల్ మీ వాట్ ఈస్ మీనింగ్ బై షియర్ ఫెయిల్యూర్? మీరు ఇంజనీరింగ్ సివిల్ ఇంజనీరింగ్ సబ్జెక్ట్స్ స్టార్ట్ అయినప్పటి నుంచి టర్మ్ వినింటారు, షియర్ ఫోర్స్, నార్మల్ ఫోర్స్, ఇదే ఉంటుంది ప్రతి సబ్జెక్ట్లో. వాట్ ఈస్ షియర్ ఫెయిల్యూర్? చెప్పండి. చెప్పాలి. What is mean by shear failure? తెలీదా అండి? సో ఇదేంటి అంటే సడన్ ఫెయిల్యూర్. So sudden failure occurs in the soil due to some loading. Okay, or at particular loading there will be failure in the soil. Okay, that is called as shear failure. Okay, you very well know that how does a shear failure occurs, right? Right. So if you see the image here, okay, if you see the image here, here is the loading. It is a strip footing. Okay, it is a strip footing and load is acting here on strip footing. It is a superstructural load acting on a strip footing. And before loading, okay, before loading, the ground surface was here. The dotted line was the ground surface. Okay, and what happened after loading? After loading, due to the shear failure, due to the general shear failure, okay, so there was failure in the soil, and see the final ground surface became like this. There is change in the position of final ground surface. Okay, so heaves are formed like this. Heaves are formed after failure. Okay, after failure of general shear failure. Okay, see heaves. Okay, ఒక కుప్పలాగా. ఓకే, ఒరిజినల్ గా ఉన్న గ్రౌండ్ సర్ఫేస్ కన్నా ఈ డాటెడ్ లైన్ రిప్రజెంట్స్ ఒరిజినల్ గ్రౌండ్ సర్ఫేస్ అండి. ఓకే, డాటెడ్ లైన్ both sides, left hand side, right hand side, both sides represents the first ground surface. Okay, after failure ground surface ఏమైందండి, ఇట్లా పైకి షిఫ్ట్ అయింది. ఓకే, ఈవెన్ right side and left side ground surface shifted its position, or it moved in the upward direction, or some heaves are formed. ఒక కుప్పలాగా పైకి వెళ్ళిపోయిందండి సాయిల్. ఓకే, లోడింగ్ కి ఫెయిల్ అయిన తర్వాత అంతేనా అండి? మీరు ఒకసారి చూడండి, నేను చూపిస్తాను. ట్రై టు అండర్స్టాండ్ ఇట్. రైట్. So what happens? Your ground surface, are you able to see me? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
So what happens? So this is a superstructural load. This is your ground surface first. Ground surface is like this, and there is superstructural loading that is acting on the ground surface. So due to this, there is failure in the soil. Okay, so how the failure is happening? Okay, as the original position is like this. Okay, it is trying to move like this. Okay, some heaves are formed. Okay, some heaves are formed like this and like this also. Even on both sides, okay, soil heaves are formed. Okay, you need to understand this point. So try to imagine. Okay, try to imagine this one. Whenever there is some sudden loading on the soil, okay, if the soil fails because of that, okay, సో మనకు సెంటర్లో లోడింగ్ ఉంది కాబట్టి, లేదంటే ఒక స్ట్రక్చర్ ఉంది కాబట్టి ఆ స్ట్రక్చర్ చుట్టూ సాయిల్ ఫామ్ అయ్యే ఛాన్స్ ఉంటుంది. ఫెయిల్యూర్ అయిన సాయిల్ అనేది ఆ స్ట్రక్చర్ చుట్టూ ఫామ్ అయిపోతుందండి. ఓకే, సో దట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ యాజ్ జనరల్ షియర్ ఫెయిల్యూర్. ఓకే, and it happens in the dense sands and stiff clays. Okay, it happens, general shear failure happens in dense sand and stiff clay. Okay, it can be observed in sands and clays. Okay, so what does this graph tells us? Okay, so here is a graph, load versus settlement. Okay, load versus settlement. See, so there is increase in the settlement as you are increasing the load. Okay, as you are increasing the load, the settlement is increased, and at some particular time, there was sudden change in the settlement. There was sudden change in the settlement. Okay, so that is called as general shear failure. Sudden change in the settlement or drastic change in the settlement. This is called as general shear failure due to the superstructural loads. Okay. So a heave is formed like this. See, this is heave. Okay. I'm highlighting this curve. This is called as heave. Okay. So these are below parts are shear surfaces or failure surfaces. Okay. So see, ground surface is trying to extend because of the failure. Okay, it is trying to extend to the footing. It is trying to move in the upper direction. Okay. Right. So local shear failure now. The another type of shear failure is local shear failure. So here if you see, initial ground surface is here and final ground surface is here. Okay. So even here rarely there will be formation of heaves. Okay. But okay, rarely there will be formation of heaves. Even if a heave is formed, okay, it will be very small heave. Okay, there won't be much change in the position of the soil. Okay, the soil will not move much. Okay, in the local shear failure, the failure occurs, but it will be in the local, means it will be near only. Okay, it will not try to move or occupy the place of footing. Okay, it won't occupy the sides of the footing. Okay, heaves, even if heave is formed, it will be with the smaller change. Okay, right. So whenever there is vertical settlement, okay, substantial vertical settlement, in that case only heaves are formed. Okay, so what does this graph tells us here? Okay, so if you see the previous graph, okay, if you see the previous graph here, there was a sudden change in the settlement, but here if you see, there was there were changes in the settlement but slowly. Okay, there were continuous changes but continuous changes. Okay, no sudden changes in a settlement due to the superstructural load. The type of failure is called as local shear failure. Okay, so remember like this, the failure will be in the nearby area only. It will not try to occupy the footing sides. Remember like that. Okay, and it is observed in dense sand or on a clay of medium consistency. Okay, and the third type of shear failure is punching shear failure. Punching. Okay, so punching means you know it very well, right? What is meant by punching? Okay, so it happens in loose sands and soft clays. Okay, punching shear failure will happen in soft clays and loose sands. Okay, so in this case also no heave is observed. There is only vertical movement of footing. So originally the footing might be here, but because of loading it will try to going down, and because of that there is failure in the soil, right? The type of failure is called as punching shear failure. Okay, punching. సో ఇది చాలా లిమిటెడ్గా ఉంటుందండి, స్పేస్ అనేది చాలా లిమిటెడ్గా ఉంటుంది. ఫెయిల్యూర్ అకార్స్ విత్ ఇన్ ది ఏ వెరీ స్మాల్ ఏరియా. ఓకే, సో it happens rarely in the reality, punching shear failure. So mostly the failure can be local failure or general shear failure, but rarely it will be punching shear failure. Okay, so if you see the graphs, it was varying. Okay, test at greater depths was like this. Okay, so different times the graphs were taken, right? So see here, if you see this is the base slab. Okay, this is the column. This was the column, but because of the punching shear failure, it has gone down. See, the position of the column or the part of the footing is went down. It has been sunken into the slab or into the ground here. So this is punching shear failure. Okay, punching limited to the very small area. Remember that, right? So next topic, that is depth of foundation. Okay, see, for the depth of foundation already we have seen a formula which is given by the Terjagi. Okay, but this depth of foundation is defined based on this. Okay, type of soil, right? Water table level, structural load, properties of soil, and bearing capacity of failure. Okay, so by considering all these things, the depth of the foundation is calculated. Okay, so water table is also considered. It is a major, it plays a major role. Okay, and bearing capacity also. Okay, you know all these things, right? Property of soil or type of soil or structural load, you know all this, but you need to remember these points also. Depth of foundation depends upon water table position and also on bearing capacity. Okay, right. So students, now we'll see, okay, we'll see a video of a theory, okay, bearing capacity theory, which is given by the Terjagi. Okay, Terjagi's bearing capacity theory. Okay, it is a very important theory because scientist name Terjagi is mentioned. Okay, so listen to the video carefully. Wait for a while, I'll share the screen. Right.
Bearing capacity expression was proposed by the Terjagi. So this is the first bearing capacity expression. So now we have to theoretically determine that what will be the ultimate.
So students, are you able to see the screen? Yes? Students, are you able to see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
So are you able to
Yes, ma'am.
hear the voice properly in the video?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So let me play the video. So pay your utmost concentration to the video. Okay, important theory.
Ultimate load carrying capacity of the soil or the foundation. So now we have C and phi two strength parameters. Now how we will use them with the help of this strength parameter, how we can calculate what would be the load carrying capacity of a foundation. So, first the bearing capacity theory was proposed by Tazaki, and this theory was very simple, and that is why still we are using this theory very and this theory has some assumptions. So, what are those assumptions? So, this is applicable for strip or a continuous footing. So, it is applicable for, remember that the theory Tazaki's bearing capacity theory that is originally developed is applicable for the strip footing resting on a homogeneous soil. It is not a layered soil, it is the homogeneous soil is the homogeneous, and shear parameters are C and the phi. Now, this is analysis as this is applicable for the strip footing. So, it is a 2D analysis, okay, plane strain analysis. So, this is the 2D analysis, and the soil fell in generous shear failure mode. So, here the another assumption is that soil fails in general shear failure mode. So, this theory is originally developed for general shear failure mode, and load is vertical and concentric. So, that means load is vertical and it is acting on the center of the footing. So, these are the assumptions of the Tazaki's bearing capacity theory. Then the more assumptions are that the ground surface is horizontal, then base of the footing is on shallow depth. So, it is valid for if your depth of foundation is less than equal to the width of foundation. So, if it is greater than that, then the Tazaki's theory we cannot apply. Now, the another assumption is that here the soil above the base of the footing that will also give some resistance during the bearing capacity calculation. So, that resistance is not incorporated in the footing in this theory. So, next then what are the things it is included, how it is been done. So, then the Tazaki's bearing capacity theories is also based on a failure mechanism that is Tazaki is assumed. So, based on the your observation, so he has assumed a failure surface. So, this failure surface looks like this. So, it has the 3 zones. Now, as I mentioned that it is not considering the resistance that is given by the soil above the base of the foundation, because if you look at this failure surface assumption, that failure surface. So, this is the failure surface, this is the failure surface. Now, this failure surface is extended up to the base of the failure, because base of the footing, because this is the footing base and this is the soil above the footing base and this is the ground surface. So, now the failure surface is extended up to the base of the footing only. So, the failure surface is not extended within the soil above the base of the footing. So, the contribution or the resistance provided by this soil is not incorporated in this theory. So, that is one assumption, but these things is incorporated indirectly. How it is been incorporated? Because the Tazaki has assumed that this load, this soil above the base of the foundation is acting as a surcharge at the base of the footing. So, how we calculate the surcharge? Surcharge is the Q, and Q is the depth of the foundation and the unit weight of the soil. So, if the unit of the weight of the soil is gamma and depth of foundation is df, then a surcharge Q is equal to gamma into df will act at the base of the footing. And then there is 3 zones. So, let me explain what are these 3 zones. The first zone is called this is the zone ABD. So, ABD, this triangle is called which is static state of elastic equilibrium. So, this zone means state of elastic equilibrium. How it is in state of elastic equilibrium? Because when we apply the load on a footing, now the soil below the footing, this zone is attached with the base of the footing because of the friction or adhesion between the footing and the soil. So, when there is a, because if your footing is rough, then there is a friction between the soil and the footing, and if this is a C5 soil, so there will be friction, there will be adhesion. Now, what is the friction and what is the adhesion? So, that means, if it is a granular soil, then there is a two phenomena occurs, that the friction can occur between the grain to grain, that means between the soil to soil. Now, if there is a friction between to soil, then the angle is called the phi or the friction angle. Now, if there is a friction between soil to any other material like foundation, because your foundation can be a concrete. So, that means here the friction between the concrete and the soil. So, in that way this friction is called as a delta. Okay. So, that means the phi is soil to soil and delta is soil to other material. So, now you can say that delta is less than the phi in most of the common material that we are using. So, that means, here your friction between soil to any other material, and if it is the granular soil, this is for the phi soil or the granular soil. Now, if it is a C soil, then also there is a, then this is called the, if it is the interaction between the soil clay particles and clay particle and the clay particle, then it is called cohesion. Now, if it is the interaction between clay particle, clay to any other material, then it is called the adhesion. So, now if it is C is equal to clay to clay and adhesion C A is called is between clay to other material. So, again this adhesion is equal to alpha into C. Alpha is the adhesion factor. So, now the most of the material that we use, the alpha is less than equal to 1. So, now if it is clay versus clay, then alpha value is 1, and if it is to any other material and the clay, then alpha value can be less than equal to 1. So, that means, here the foundation and the clay. So, that means, if it is a C5 soil, then there is a friction between the soil and the foundation, as well as adhesion between the soil and the foundation. So, because of this phenomena, this zone 1 and the foundation, they act intactly. That means when you deform this soil, if you apply the load, so this zone will deform because of they are attached with the soil because of adhesion and the friction, then this zone will not deform laterally, they will deform in the downward direction. So, that is why it is in the state of elastic equilibrium. So, this wedge ABD immediately beneath the footing is prevented from undergoing any lateral movement by the friction and the adhesion. So, this is the friction and the adhesion between the base of the footing and the soil. So, they will deform in the downward direction, but they will not deform in the lateral direction, because they are in the state of elastic equilibrium, because they have an interaction with the foundation and because of friction and the adhesion. Now, this is the zone 1. Now, in the zone 2, these when we apply this load, So, this foundation and this zone 1 they deform in the downward direction. So, now they apply this the radially the other zone of the soil of this other zone they will deform in the radial direction. So, now this soil zone is not deforming in the radial direction, but this soil zone is deforming in the radial direction, because this thing is going in downward direction. This wedge and the foundation is going in the downward direction. So, now, so that is why there is a two zone, one is the zone of radial shear zone 2, another is the passive Rankine passive zone. Zone 3 is the Rankine passive zone. Now, what is the why it is called the passive zone? So, when I will discuss about the earth pressure theory, so there I will discuss in detail what is the earth pressure theory, but for this today's class, so you just should know that there are three types of earth pressure. So, one is the active earth pressure, one is earth pressure at rest, another is the passive earth pressure. Now, what is active earth pressure? Active earth pressure means if you have a wall say, and this side is soil and this side is void. So, because of the soil pressure the wall can move. So, if it moves in this direction, that means if wall moves away from the soil, then it is called active. So, this is called active, and if it is not moving, this is at rest. Now, if the wall is moving towards the soil, then it is called the passive. So, here we are talking about passive. How we are why it is talking about the passive? Because here this is the soil, it is moving in this direction, it is moving in this direction because this side is soil. So, this is the passive, but it is not moving neither soil direction nor the opposite to the soil direction. So, why it is passive? Because here as I mentioned, this ABD zone is not deformed laterally, it is, so that means it is in elastic equilibrium stage. So, we are assuming, so this is as a wall, or this is a imaginary wall. It is actually not a wall, it is an imaginary wall, and this thing is moving towards the soil, because this thing is moving. So, this is the soil and these are the wall. So, this is moving towards the soil. So, that means, if it is, we assume it is a wall. So, like this, if it is a wall, it is moving towards the soil. So, it is also moving towards the soil. So, here a passive zone is developed. So, that is why it is a passive zone. So, the resistance that you are getting from this zone. Okay? So, this passive resistance. So, we are this, that means when we are applying, this wall is moving from here, this wall is moving from here to this direction. So, there will be a passive zone is developed, because this is the passive pressure. So, this passive zone will give you a passive pressure, because when you are moving a wall towards the soil. So, soil will give you a resistance. So, here also there will be a passive resistance will be given. So, because of this passive, because it is passive zone, because it is moving towards the soil. So, now if you have two zones, so you can see these two zones have this zone is start from one, it is start from the edge of the footing, and the lower part is logarithmic spiral, and here this angle is taken as 45 degree minus phi by 2, because this is in the Rankine's passive zone. And so, now another thing is that in this figure, actually this is, it start vertically from here. So, this when you start these things, it vertically from here, then it is propagate. So, here also it is vertical in this zone, this point. So, this point it is starting vertically, this point. So, these are the 3 zones. So, now and Tazaki also assume that angle of this wedge, this angle is phi. So, both the angles of phi, and this is a triangular wedge on where there is a passive force is acting. Okay. So, now if I want to derive the expression for this based on theory. So, now if I take this wedge only, okay. So, if I take this wedge only, then what are the forces acting on this wedge? What are the forces acting on this wedge? So, as I mentioned that there is a passive force, P p is the passive force. So, P p is the P p is the passive force. So, this is acting. Now, this is acting as per this thing is that if you have a wall and then this P p acts with an angle of delta with this vertical. So, that means this is the direction of the P p. Okay. Now, here as the wall is because this delta is the wall, any other material to the soil as I have discussed. Now, this is acting at a, if I draw, this is the wall, if I draw a vertical line, delta P p act as a angle of delta with the vertical line, and but this wall is the imaginary wall. So, basically it is not a soil to any other material, it is basically soil to soil. So, instead of delta it will be phi. Okay. So, here this instead of delta it will be phi. So, here also this is the wall, this is the your perpendicular line. So, it is acting angle phi with this perpendicular line. This is perpendicular to this wall, this dotted line. This is acting with an angle phi. So, this P p is acting this side and this side, and then the another force is this Q u is the ultimate stress. So, that is acting on the base of the footing, and then there is the adhesion acting between the wall and the soil. So, there is the adhesion is acting because if this is a material, any material. So, then if you put it in the soil, if it is a C phi soil, so there will be definitely adhesion and definitely the friction. So, that means the adhesion will act, and there is a passive resistance that is also coming. So, that passive resistance will act with angle phi, and the weight of the wedge. So, this weight of the wedge also acting in the downward direction. So, what are the forces are acting? This weight of the wedge is acting in downward direction, passive resistance is acting to sides of this wedge, and adhesion is acting on the side of this wall, and Q is the ultimate load carrying capacity or stress. So, these are the stress that is acting on this wedge, and then we have to apply the limited equilibrium approach is applied, and then once this equation is solved, and finally we will get the ultimate load carrying capacity expression. So, in the next class I will discuss about how the equation is formed, and then I will discuss how we will calculate the bearing capacity based on that equation.
So, students, you might have understood what is mean by zone 1, what is mean by zone 2, what is mean by zone 3. Okay. So, mostly, okay, he focused on the video mostly on the assumptions of Terzaghi for derivation of a bearing capacity. Okay. So, he clearly mentioned what is mean by cohesion, what is mean by adhesion, what is mean by phi, what is mean by delta. Okay. So, he focused clearly, and see, we discussed already what is active earth pressure, passive earth pressure already. Okay. So, he mentioned or he repeated once again those things in the video. Okay, that's all. So the continuation of derivation, okay, bearing capacity, calculation of bearing capacity by Terzaghi, continuation of derivation will be shown for you in the next class. Okay, so I'll take the attendance, students. Wait for few minutes in the class. Wait in the class. Right. So remember, always based on the assumptions only, the derivation will be there. Okay, so it is very important to remember assumptions also. సో చాలా మంది అటెండెన్స్ కోసమే క్లాస్లోకి ఎంటర్ అయ్యారండి, అది చాలా క్లియర్గా అర్థమవుతుంది. సో డోంట్ డూ లైక్ దిస్, ఓకే, బికాజ్ యూ విల్ బి ద లూజర్. You will be the loser. I can lock the meeting. Okay, I can lock the meeting by the time. సో మీకు రికమెండేషన్స్ అవసరం లేదండి, అటెండెన్స్ కోసం కూడా రికమెండేషన్సా? So right, thank you Andy. So in the next class we'll see the derivation for bearing capacity calculation. Okay, thank you everyone. I am ending up the session.